All right, everyone. I hope you can see me okay. Let's continue with segment 2. And segment 2, we are going to move on to lesson C in unit 8. Okay? Segment 2, lesson C. We will focus on phrasal verbs. Think to yourself for a moment. What is a phrasal verb? You may remember, for example, turn on, turn off, stand up, sit down, think about, turn in, homework. These are a few examples, and in English, phrasal verbs are very common. So many phrasal verbs. Unfortunately, the easiest way to learn phrasal verbs is probably to take small groups at a time. Small groups at a time that you can practice and memorize these words because they go together. So a phrasal verb, let's just give a basic review. It is a verb with a preposition, sometimes an adverb, that go together. So two words usually go together to create a new meaning. Let's take the example, turn on. If I use the word turn by itself, what's the meaning? Well, turn. Turn is this action. If I combine turn with on, then it has a new meaning. And in this case, we usually refer to something with power or electricity. Turn on the light. Turn on the TV. Turn on the radio. So together, the two words create a new and special meaning. So now, phrasal verbs can have two kinds. There are separable and inseparable, as I mentioned before. So separate what? Since they are two words that usually go together, that means separable, we can separate the two words, usually by moving the object. So if I notice the example I gave, turn on what? Turn on the light. The light is an object. It goes after the verb. So if this is a separable phrasal verb, then I could take the object and put that in the middle of the phrasal verb. So let's look behind for another example. How about turn on? Okay. We mentioned that the light is the object. It's the object in this example. Now, the object could also, because it is a noun, we know that all nouns can also have a pronoun form. So, okay, what about Carey, she, or her? It depends on the sentence, right? So in this case, light is an object. So what's my pronoun? It. So turn on the light. Usually the object will go after the verb, right? In this case, I could separate turn and on, and I could put the object in the middle. Turn it on. Okay? So in this case, it is a separable phrasal verb. All right, now the other option is inseparable. Inseparable, meaning I cannot put the object in the middle. How do we distinguish? How do we know? First of all, let me give you a challenge to do a Google search, and you can look up common separable phrasal verbs or common inseparable phrasal verbs and see what do you find. You will find hundreds of examples. So for the purpose of today, I will give just a few examples for each. And lesson C will focus on separable phrasal verbs, but I think it's also important to understand what does it mean inseparable phrasal verbs. Okay, so let's see a few examples. Just a moment. All right, now let me put this here. And I wanted to give some general examples for phrasal verbs. Okay, I think you have probably heard all of these examples before. Break up, break out, break in. Okay, now I will take the first example here and give a meaning. The rest I may challenge you for you to look up. Let's look at break up. Break up. You may know this for relationships. And sometimes breakup can also be a noun. For example, I had a breakup. What do I mean? Meaning I broke up with my boyfriend, or maybe he broke up with me. It's a sad situation, right? Now, this one I put a check. You may not be able to see it because this could be a separable phrasal verb. Break them up. The beautiful girl broke them up. Okay, example. You can imagine the story. Okay, next one. Break out. The prisoners broke out of jail, meaning what? They escaped. They broke out. Okay, another one could be a skin problem. Maybe I have acne, and I could say, oh, I have a breakout on my face, meaning something spread out on my face. Okay, the next example, break in. The bank robber broke in to the bank to steal money. Okay, we know the meaning here. Break in is to enter a place without permission. Usually you must break a window or break a door, or maybe you just break a lock and you enter without permission. Break in. So we can see that these three examples, they all have a special meaning when combined together. Okay, a few more. Bring back, bring over, bring up, ask out, ask for, back down, back off, back up. Okay, back up can also mean reverse, to go back, or back up. Believe in. What do you believe in? Now I put an X next to this one because it is inseparable. I cannot put an object in the middle of believe and in. Blow away, blow off, blow up, blow up. Blow out, blow a candle out. Okay, these are very common. You may notice that many verbs have many prepositions they could connect with. So blow away, blow off, blow up, blow out. That's 4 prepositions that can combine with break or blow. Okay, what about bump into? Oops, I bumped into you. Sorry, excuse me. Burn up. In Atlanta in the summer, we burn up. Too hot. Burn out. You work too hard, you burn out. Just like a candle, the example I gave last week. Burn down. The building burned down, sadly. Okay? Call. Call back. Call them back. Call her back. It is separable, right? Call off. Call off graduation. Sadly, many graduation ceremonies have been called off because of the virus, haven't they? And call up. I called up my aunt last week to say hello. Calm down, relax, calm down. Okay? Care for. This, I put an X, is inseparable. Check in, check out, check on. Check, check, check. So we have 3 different examples here. Close down. Many restaurants or stores have closed down these days. Close up. Close up the shop. Close off. Close off the area, meaning you can't enter or you are blocked. Okay, now we talked about a few examples. As I mentioned, there are, I think, hundreds of phrasal verbs. Okay, now, on your own time, if you have more time, you would like to do more study, look up some phrasal verbs. Many websites will give the phrasal verb and give an example or definition. So I challenge you to do a Google search and find out more examples. Okay, I want to give a few examples and a few examples to show separable phrasal verbs so I can explain a little bit more. Look at the first one. I asked my friends out for KBBQ, Korean barbecue. I asked my friends out for KBBQ. So what's the object here? I asked who? My friends. So did I separate the phrasal verb? Yes. What is the phrasal verb? Ask and out, or in this case, it's past tense. Asked out. Okay? Now, something I need to tell you, I think it's an important rule. If I choose the pronoun form of the object, and in this case, friends is plural, right? So what pronoun would be an object pronoun? Them. I asked them out for Korean barbecue. That's correct. Okay, incorrect. I asked out them for KBBQ. Why is that incorrect? Because pronouns cannot go in between. They cannot separate the phrasal verb. However, if I keep the object noun form, it's okay. All right? So, incorrect. I asked out them for KBBQ. Correct. I asked them out for KBBQ. Okay? All right. And I think I just explained something incorrectly. My mistake. Let me go back to asked out. So in this case, the phrasal verb is together, right? And the pronoun goes after that. I asked out them. So I'm so sorry. I confused you. In my hurriedness, I made a mistake. So them can go in the middle. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll give some more examples. So if we see here, I asked out them, this is incorrect. Correct. I asked them out. Sorry about that. Okay. So the correct, I should have read here first. For separable phrasal verbs, I cannot put a pronoun after. I must put it in between. So what I mentioned before, separate it. Reverse, okay? It's the opposite. So let's see. Another tip I could give you is if you have a long object phrase, maybe there is more information, more detail. For example, a friend of mine from summer school. Okay, the basic object is a friend of mine. I gave more detail from summer school. In this case, a long object phrase, it does not make sense with separated phrasal verbs. Let's hear this example. I need to pick a friend of mine from summer school up at the airport. Okay? This does not make sense to separate it with a long phrase in the middle. In this case, let's keep the phrasal verb together. Let's change it. I need to pick up a friend of mine from summer school at the airport. Okay, in English, it just sounds better. All right, let's review these two, grammar points or grammar rules. So, if I have a pronoun and a separable phrasal verb, I need to keep the pronoun in the middle, not after. Second point, if I have a long object phrase, I should keep the phrasal verb together first, and then object phrase. Okay? All right, I hope that makes sense. And I'm sorry for my incorrect explanation. Let's move on. Okay. I'm giving you a few more examples before we look at the book. In the book, we only have a very simple explanation. So I hope this will help a little bit. Okay. Now, let's talk about some separable phrasal verbs. I'll give you a few examples here. Please calm the woman down. What's the object here? The woman. Okay, what's the phrasal verb? Calm down. Second example, please calm her down. Please calm her down. This time I'm using the object pronoun, her. What about a question? Can you please, or can you calm her down, please? Polite question. And in this case, I put the object pronoun in the middle of calm down. Okay? So, incorrect. Please calm down her. Not correct. So this is like the previous rule I was trying to explain. Her cannot go after the phrasal verb. It should go in the middle of the phrasal verb. So correct. Please calm her down. Or I could say, please calm down that woman. Maybe I don't know her. Okay. So let's do maybe one more example. Number 2, polite question. Would you mind turning down the lights? The lights is the object. Turn down became progressive tense, right? Okay. So the lights are the object, and I can separate this one. It's separable. Would you mind turning the lights down? So I put the lights in between the phrasal verb, turning the lights down. Now I could also say, would you mind turning them down? And I'm using the object pronoun here, them. All right. We'll do another one. Many healthcare workers are caring for COVID patients these days, right? I can change this healthcare workers to they. They are caring for them carefully. Them, the patients. Caring for who? The object is the patients. Okay? So, they are caring them for carefully. Guess what? This is not separable. It's an inseparable phrasal verb. Okay, so not separable. All right, now, as we conclude segment 2, segment 2 is just including some instructions before we look at the book. All right, ask yourself, does this phrasal verb make sense separated? Yes or no? Then you can decide if it is separable or not. And another question to ask yourself, can the object go in the middle and at the end of the phrasal verb? If the answer is yes, then it's separable. It is a separable phrasal verb. Okay, now I will pause here. And I knew that lesson C might take a little bit longer, and that's okay. So for now, segment 3, we will continue, and we will go back to lesson C in the book and see some more examples. So see you again in a few moments.